The quantity of the predicate term of categorical prepositions. A closer look at every preposition reveals the following: that the subject term always has a quantity, that every preposition always has a quantity, as determined by the quality of the subject term, and that the predicate term always has a quantity. Literally, however, it would be unthinkable by use of language English to assign a quantity to the predicate term. All Filipinos are Asians, but in logic, the predicate term can be quantified. There are rules of the quantity of the predicate. The following are the rules in determining the quality of the predicate. Number 1. All affirmative prepositions always have particular or undistributed predicate terms. The second one, all negative prepositions always have universal or distributed predicate terms. The foregoing rules require us to take the following conclusions. First, that A and I prepositions have particular predicate terms. For example, all students are industrious. So, ang SUN is all students. The C plus is that ang R. And the PP is that the industrious. So another, some students are industrious. Number 2, that E and O prepositions have universal predicate terms. Example, no students are industrious. So the SU is no students. C minus R. And the PU is industrious. Some students are not industrious. Some students is the SP. C minus are not. PU is industrious. Venn-Euler diagram. All affirmative preposition A and I always have particular predicate terms, which means that the predicate terms of A and I prepositions are contained in the comprehension totally of the subject term, so that the subject and predicate terms are identified with each other. However, inasmuch as the quantity of the predicate terms in affirmative preposition is particular, it follows that only a part of the extension of the predicate term is identified with the subject term. However, there are two kinds of quantification. First, the universal quantification. Universal quantification refers to statements which are universally true, that all squares have 4 sides, all charcoal is black, and no whales or horses. In universal quantification, the rules which say that all affirmative prepositions always have particular predicate terms and all negative prepositions always have universal predicate terms are truly observed. Thus, the predicate terms 4 sides and black are both undistributed or particular, such that not all objects have 4 sides are square, because there is also a rectangle, and not all objects which are black are charcoal. On the contrary, the predicate term horses is universal in that it is a predicate term of a negative preposition. Hence, the predicate term horses categorically excludes the subject term whales, because in reality, there are no whales which are horses and vice versa. On the other hand, existential quantification refers to the statement that contain the idea that at least one individual bears the truth of a statement. This is generally applicable to particular affirmative prepositions, like some lawyers are priests, some Supreme Court justices are women, and some politicians are journalists. So let us now quantify the predicate term of a preposition by the use of Venn-Euler diagram. Accordingly, they are similar to each other in that both employ overlapping circles or sometimes squares, to illustrate the relationship of sets of ideas of terms. Well, A, preposition, that all Filipinos are Asians. The subject term is that Filipinos, and the predicate term is that Asians. So, Asians predicate term and Filipino subject term, that's the equal. In the above example, the predicate term Asians contains the comprehension, totality of the subject term Filipinos, since legally any Filipino citizen is geographically, not necessarily from the standpoint of race, Asian. However, not all Asians are Filipinos. This is why only a part of the existence of the predicate term Asians is identified with the subject term Filipinos. Hence, we can argue all Filipinos are Asians, but not all Asians are Filipinos. I, preposition. Some Filipinos are OCWs. So, the subject terms are the Filipinos, and the OCWs are the predicate term. And equals OCW predicate term and the Filipinos in the subject term. In this example, only a part of the extension of the predicate term OCWs or overseas contract workers is identified with the subject term Filipinos. In this regard, it can be said that only part of the comprehension, totality of the whole Filipino population is identified or contained in the predicate terms or OCWs. This obviously means that not all Filipinos are OCWs. Thus, the quantity of the predicate term OCWs is particular.